Friends, we will be ready to start in about a minute and a half. Start finding your places. About a minute and a half, we'll be about ready to start our evening session. I'm on. Let's be called to order.
Screen down, please.
Friends, let's be called to order. When we adjourned in order to observe our order of the day, we were working on legislative item 105, lines 5 through 10. As written, that item would require each charge with an active full-time pastor to pay her or him a $15,000 health insurance allowance in 2018. I sense that you were starting to struggle with the consequences of not approving the legislative item as written, and whether that would leave the pastor with no allowance in 2018. My suggestion is this: that we hold the vote on legislative item 105, lines 5 through 10, as it is written. If the item is approved, so be it. If the item is not approved, then I will open the floor for any other motion to approve a health insurance allowance for 2018 at an amount other than $15,000. Now, I hope that sounds acceptable, and if it does sound acceptable, we will need the maker of the amendment to withdraw the amendment in order for us to proceed forward with the vote that is currently before us. I see somebody waving at me, yes. Microphone 8. Microphone, is that?
8.
Microphone 8.
Is it on? Okay. Joshua Wiggs, I am the maker of the amendment. I agree with your judgment, and I have faith in this body, so I withdraw my amendment.
Okay, thank you. So that would put the item 105, lines 5 through 10, would be before us. And if you're ready to vote, make sure your voting devices are powered up. Are you ready to vote? Vote 1 for yes and 2 for no. Vote now. 488 yes, 195 no. We have adopted this section. Secretary?
We now move to action on the budget, number 106.
Okay, who's presenting our budget? Mike, are you ready? Here we go.
I am ready.
All right.
Let's do this. Bishop and cabinet and laity and pastors, you have before you on page 12 of the blue section from the pre-packet, legislative item 106. This has already been discussed yesterday, and so we are bringing this up to be passed.
All right. The budget is before you. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, I believe we're ready to vote. Oh, thank you. Microphone 3.
Kent King Nobles, appointed to Normal First in Vermilion River District. I have a question about the benevolence part of the budget, which I'm looking at page 13 on the supplemental packet. I hope I'm in order here. My question is, after just leaving the great celebration we had upstairs, I see the Baby Fold, Chaddock, Leslie Bates, United Methodist Children's Home, the budgets are all being cut. I just wondered if we could get an explanation on why that is.
You said you're on page 13?
Of the supplemental packet, yes. Part A, Health and Welfare Ministries.
Just slide that to him, please.
I did, thank you. So you were asking specifically, please repeat that, thank you.
Okay, sure. My assumption is that the Health and Welfare Ministries part of the budget is getting ready to be voted on, along with the total budget. And if that's true, when I look at Part A, I see the Baby Fold, Chaddock, Leslie Bates, United Methodist Children's Home. All of those are being cut from 2017 levels. And I was hoping for just a rationale for why those numbers are being cut. Why we're giving less money in the budget in 2018 than we did 2017.
Rick, can you speak to this? Because we did ask them to submit that. And so CF&A was not the people that were cutting this.
Tom
Thank you.
Hogston, microphone 2.
Setting budgets in a declining annual conference by size is always a difficult and painful thing. We try at the same time to be fiscally responsible, recognizing that our numbers are going down. And as we looked at what the needs were in 2018 and the total needs for our particular unit, we tried to weigh off where we thought we were going to be reasonably fiscally in 2018, as well as what the needs were. We attempted to keep a budget as close as we could to a 0% budget. If you will look in the benevolence budget at the bottom of the grand total, it actually did go up. We did request an increase. That's a struggle. If the money was there, we would love to spend a whole lot more money on benevolences. We would certainly love to be able to give a whole lot more to our children's agencies. Part of the struggle is, in order to allow new ministries to become started, funding for long-term ministries has to be shifted. And one of the ways that shifting occurs is through our advanced special program. This is direct funding that comes from the annual conference that's being budgeted. All of these agencies are advanced specials, which means they have the ability to directly appeal in local churches, and local churches have the ability to give directly to them. And I don't know about all y'all, but when I was in the parish, people would always say, we want to do something locally, and here's a great opportunity. I strongly encourage the churches of this annual conference, in addition to supporting our conference, our kids, to give directly to the Baby Folds Advanced Special, Chaddock's Advanced Special, even Glow Leslie Bates Davis, on down through the list, but particularly the children's agencies we honor tonight. This is simply the money that's in the budget that is directly given through your conference claims. You can give a whole lot more money directly to these agencies, and believe me, I encourage you to do so. That's the reason. Did I answer it?
Thank you, Tom. Does that answer your question?
That does answer my question. I'd like to try amendment.
Okay.
I would like to amend the budget, specifically under the Health and Welfare Ministries part, to restore the line items to the Baby Fold, to Chaddock, to Leslie Bates, and United Methodist Children's Home to 2017 levels.
Okay, it's been seconded. Would you speak to it?
I would love to. I'm hesitant to get up on the conference floor and work on the budget. I know it takes a lot of work, and I appreciate the work that's been done. It looks to me like money was shifted so that some of our retirement ministries could have more money. I have no problem with that. I'm sure there's a good reason for that. It doesn't feel to me like this is a good year for us to cut these children's ministries. The state is doing a lot of cutting through not providing a budget, and for some of the things that are going on in the state. It looks like to me on the federal level, we're kind of headed that direction also. There's almost a perfect storm going on right now. I feel like, I know money's tight, and I know it's tight for the churches to come up with money. These are our most vulnerable children. If we can't come up with money, if we can't come up with money to help these kids, if we're going backwards there, it doesn't feel right to me. In this year when I love that we just had this big celebration. I love that we're going to raise an endowment. That makes so much sense to me. I think we should definitely support that wholeheartedly. I'm going to feel a little sad if we're starting the celebration by cutting our budget. And so that's my thought. I'll trust the wisdom of the group to tell me whether I'm right or not.
Microphone 2 or 5, whichever you get to first, Rick. Microphone 2.
Rick Van Giesen, Conference Treasurer. When we vote on the budget, what we're really voting on is the bottom line of the conference benevolences, which is on page 14. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces down at $1,140,000. That's actually what's before us right now. Now, even though in this year's pre-conference booklet, it did not list the benevolence budget as informational, it has in the past, and we have always treated it as informational and not a legislative item for the annual conference. This is a new conference and a new bishop, and that old interpretation may not carry over. However, just understand that the proper action would be to increase the conference budget by $17,500, and then advise CDT to apply it to these agency benevolences.
Thank you for that. Are there others wanting to speak to the motion? Yes. Microphone 1.
Joy Schlesselman, where am I? Mantino in Vermilion River District. I speak in favor of this motion. I totally agree with Kent. We need to put our money where our mouth is when we say we love our kids. And Babyfold and all the other agencies are greatly in need of this service. And I think it would be a friendly change to do what Rick suggested, whatever it needs to be done so that we can make this happen.
Okay. I'll receive that as a speech in favor of. Again, microphone 1. I didn't see anybody on the other side, and if I did, I'll come back.
I'm Linda Lewis. I am from the Embera District. My question, it's a question, is what Rick said was that we would have to increase the bottom line. Where is this money coming from? Can
Well,
Rick answer that question?
The money comes from apportionments.
So we would have to raise apportionments?
It would affect your apportionments, that's correct.
Okay, but how are the churches going to take that? We need to think about that also.
Okay. I take that as a speech against. Is that correct? Or you framed it as a question. So you please advise me.
It still is a question. I'm not really opposed to giving money to those places. That's my problem.
Okay, thank you. Microphone 4.
Dixie Croxton, pastor and chaplain at Sunset Home, one of our Golden Cross benevolence agencies from the Lemoyne River District. Many of you know I've stood on this conference floor many times and advocated for our children, and I still do that. But I also need to advocate for our other benevolence agencies. And just as we know that the state has cut our children's agencies tremendously, they've also cut our other benevolence agencies. Sunset Home right now is owed $1.5 million in back payments from the state of Illinois. You can multiply that to all of our other agencies. And as much as I would love to give all of our children's agencies the money they had last year, please do not forget our commitment also to our older adult ministries and our other benevolence agencies. We are all hurting. We are all in need of funds. And as much as I love my brother and our children, I really have to speak against this because I think that our Golden Cross and benevolence agencies have come before and have spoke their mind and pled their cases, and this committee has diligently divided our money. And unless we're going to give lots more money to benevolence, which I'm all for that, I hesitate zeroing out just a few agencies because we are passionately moved by our children tonight. And please, take your money from your churches, give to the agencies you'd like. Let's not just be passionately moved by one moment tonight.
Thank you. I received that as a speech against. We've had one speech for and one against. Are you ready to vote? Are there other placards that I'm not seeing? Other questions being raised? Microphone Can microphone 4.
Carol Rankin, Living Faith United Methodist Church, Lemoyne River District. I am past chair of Health and Welfare. I was hoping Tom Goodell could get up and answer this, but I want to point out that Cunningham, one of our child care agencies, is not in this list of health and welfare ministries, so what you're doing now would not include them. And what the health and welfare agencies are an apportionment. So that comes from the dollars that are apportioned. I think our Let's Get Fired Up campaign is a campaign. So the monies that we would put in this budget would not be reflected in the Let's Get Fired Up campaign. Now, again, my heart is with the children. My heart is with the older adult ministries and all of our ministries, but I think this is going to do exactly what it is that you wanted to do, which is to get this campaign off the ground. Thank you.
I'm trying to label your speech. Was that for or against?
I would have to say it's against.
Thank you. I did not want to put words in your mouth. Yes, I see people pointing, and it looks like microphone 7. Is that right? Okay.
I don't like to, I'm sorry, I have a very strong voice. I'm Jim Pride. I'm from the Sangamon River District. I'm a lay member. Seldom do we see this many people together that can influence something. I think all of our social agencies in this state are suffering tremendously. I think what we're doing is outstanding. I think what all of us here tonight need to do is to individually, every one of you, talk to your legislators so that we can get our social services back where they should be to help these people in need. Thank you.
There'll be no applause. Thank you. I'm not sure, sir, if that was a speech for or against. For. Thank you. We've had 2 speeches for and 2 speeches against. Are you ready to vote? I'll turn to the secretary for clarity on what we're voting on so that we're all clear.
On screen. We have an amendment to the budget to motion to restore 217 budget levels for the Baby Fold, Chaddock, Leslie Bates, and United Methodist Children's Home. This is found in the supplemental packet on page 13 under Part A, and it is those items related to children's ministry.
Okay, so now you're clear on what we're voting on. Vote yes. Microphone 8.
Sarah Isbell, clergy, Sangamon River District. My question is maybe to the maker of the motion. Is the intent to restore the levels of children's ministry funding by adding money to the budget or by shifting the money over from the older adult ministries which were increased?
Microphone 3.
Kent King Noble's Normal First from Million River District. My intent was not to switch money over. My intention was to add. It was clear to me that this doesn't have anything to do with the endowment money we're raising. I wasn't trying to deal with that either. What I was trying to do is say, let's go into this campaign not cutting, but really taking on some of the support that's being eroded and taken away from our children. Okay. That's my thought.
Thank you. Are you ready to vote? Microphone 1.
Hi, Anish Herman, River District. I just wanted to know if the maker of the motion wanted to rephrase as Rick Van Giesen kind of advised, just to make sure that it was done properly. That way it would stay in order when it was reviewed, which was, I believe, raising the total benevolence budget and then advising to raise the money on the line items for the children's ministries.
Microphone 3.
Kent King Nobles again. Yes, I would love to do that.
That really is not the motion that you put before us. And I'm struggling. I mean, I could just say, yes, let's do that, but I want to make sure that I'm doing things according to Hoyle. John, I'm looking at you as... Okay, we can do that, apparently, according to the guy that's got my back. So let me turn to the secretary so that you understand what we're going to be doing.
Okay, Rick, help me out here if I'm not right. The motion is going to be amended to be that there is an increase in the overall benevolent budget with a request or direction that the children's related ministries are restored to 2017 levels?
Yes, microphone 2.
These would be the new numbers, and might suggest to the secretary that next year these are the line numbers are numbered. The lines are numbered. On page 14, in the blue section, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes down, where it says $1,140,000. If the motion prevails, that would be $1,157,500. 1157500. So then we're going to go down to the third box from the bottom. That number becomes $4,580,797. Excuse me, I didn't say that right, but 4580797. The bottom line of the budget becomes $12,202,213. 12202,213, and the increase in the percentage is 0.5%.
Okay, thank you, Rick. I know not all of you got those numbers, so we'll try to have those available for you should this prevail.
Rick, if you could give those to the secretarial team, we could get them in and get them on the screen. You're really going to them.
Okay. Are you wanting to wait until you get these numbers on the screen, or are you ready to vote? Okay. If you are in favor of this change, you'll be voting number 1 for yes, 2 for no. Vote now. 415 yes, 273 no. The amendment prevails or passes. The amendment passes. Now the budget is before us. Are you ready to vote on the budget? I'm just looking to make sure. I don't want to leave anybody out. If you're ready to adopt the budget, vote 1 for yes, 2 for no. Vote now. $644 yes, 59 noes. We have adopted the budget. You can
Thank you,
applaud
Bishop.
for that. Thank you. I believe we're now ready for the nominations committee. Item number 417. 417.
Separate in the supplemental packet.
You go ahead and announce it. I'm sorry.
This is the item that's separate in the supplemental packet.
They're looking for page number 1, right?
It's a separate section. The pages of the nomination report are numbered separately. They're stapled together. It's a pretty hefty stack of papers.
You're welcome. Bishop, Cabinet, and Annual Conference, good evening. My name is Ethan Carnes. I'm the registrar for the Conference Committee on Nominations, and we know that there are corrections that need to be made, and we are receiving those corrections, and I have already made the corrections since yesterday. These corrections will also appear into the printed journal. Our standard practice is to email all of the districts the process for making nominations, and I have that in an email, and the districts will be receiving that as soon as I sit down. Once again, on behalf of the whole Conference Committee on Nominations, I'd like to thank all those who have worked so hard to prepare this list. This is our recommendation for the conference leadership for the 2017-2018 conference year. We offer this report for your formal vote.
Okay, legislative item 417 is before us. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? If you would adopt these nominees, the nominations before you, vote 1 for yes and 2 for no. Vote now. $712 yes, 8 noes. Thank you for those who are willing to serve, and thank you to the nominations committee.
Now to item 107, found on page 4 of the pre-conference workbook regarding music at worship during annual conference session.
Eric is at microphone 1, is that correct? 5, microphone 5.
Good evening, friends. Eric Swanson, clergy member, Leroy First United Methodist Church, Vermilion River District, and I am ultimately the one who bears the responsibility of building these worship services for the last 5 years. I want to say that in our ordination, one of the things that we admit to is that we are going on to perfection. It is something that we are working towards, and the work of our sessions committee is that. I want to thank the person who wrote this legislation. It is a piece of work that reminds us that we need to continue to keep our eyes open to the different ways that we do worship. I would like to move to refer this to the Total Sessions Committee instead of legislating the way in which we do our worship here formally, continuing to keep us as a conference open through this committee and its work to continue to build worship that truly reflects the diversity of our conference.
Okay. There's a motion to refer this to the Sessions Committee. Any questions or discussion regarding this? You ready to vote? If you would refer, vote 1 for yes, 2 for no. Vote now. Are we vote now? $652 yes, 50 no. It is referred.
Item 108, pre-conference workbook, page 15, repentance for helping finance abortion.
Okay, who's leading that? Doug? Microphone, please come to microphone 1.
Joyce Lesselman, clergy of the Vermilion River District. I'd like to move referral of this item to the Board of Church and Society. I believe there are some gross errors of information that are not even facts in this. So if the Board of Church and Society wants to rule it out of order, that's fine. I just think it should be referred.
Okay, there's a motion to refer. Is there a second? Are you ready to vote? Okay, if you would refer, press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Vote now. $636 yes, 79 no. The motion is referred, or the item is referred. Thank you.
Item number 109 in the pre-conference workbook, page 16, the Muslim Reformation of Islam.
Yes, microphone 1.
Joyce Lesselman, Vermilion River District. Bishop, I believe this is out of order. I believe this goes right to the heart of Wesley's 3 rules about do no harm. I believe this is a harmfully spoken word, and I believe this would be completely out of order for our church and our conference.
Are you making a motion to refer it to
I'd like
church?
to ask you if you would rule whether this is in order or not.
I would much rather prefer that you would decide what to do with it.
Well, I'm completely against this, and I believe it's out of order. I believe it's against what we stand for as United Methodists, who are people of faith, respectful of others of faith. And like I said, I believe it does harm to our brothers and sisters in the Muslim tradition, and I feel that it's very much wrong against Wesley's rule to do no harm.
Thank you. Is there microphone 1?
Beth Nelson, Westmore Parish, Spoon River District. I would like to refer this to religion and race.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion? I see a placard here. What microphone is that? Is it 10? 6, microphone 6.
Doug Reddick from the Iroquois District, retired. There is and has been a movement among Muslims to reform the Islamic religion. After 1,600 years, or 1,500 years, we had a reformation in the Christian religion. It's been a little over 1,400 years, and it's about time. I'm not asking us to reform Islam. That's impossible. If Islam is going to live in the 21st century and be at peace with people who aren't Muslim, they're going to have to reform it, and it's going to have to be done by the scholars, Muslim scholars, by Muslim jurists, by Muslim imams, as they are being encouraged to do by Muslims. I'm trying to speak to the fact that all these items that I put on this list are true, and the only way they're going to stop is if the Islamic religion is reformed by Muslims. It's got nothing to do with John Wesley. My goodness. If they reform, we could have peace in this world. It would be a big step for peace. Now, I'm sure John Wesley would be in favor of peace. Thank you.
Sir, is that a motion?
It's against the referral.
Thank you. So I have a speech against the referral. I see to my far right here, microphone 7.
Julie Smith, Vermilion River District, clergy. I serve Wesley United Methodist Church in Bradley. While I appreciate my sister Beth's referral, I have to side with my sister Joy. I think it's time we take a stand against this kind of language coming out of the Christian church. And if it doesn't do harm to John Wesley's golden rules, his 3 rules, it certainly does harm to me as a United Methodist. I'm in opposition to referring this. I think we need to vote and take a stand.
Okay. Was that a speech for or against referral?
Against.
Thank you. Okay, I saw someone on this side, and then I'll come here to the middle. Microphone 4, or 1 if you're closer. You're closer to 1.
Anthony Stouter, Sangamon River District, Lady. I'm opposed to the legislation, and I'm not really sure where this belongs, but I think religion and race would be a good place for it to be. I have several concerns with the legislation, including It has no specific destination for a message, and I don't believe it's a message we should be. I think the way in which we go about building relationships shouldn't be walking up to people and telling them how to conduct their religion. If we use the golden rule, putting myself in their shoes, if someone walked up to me and told me how to conduct my Methodist faith, I would be taken aback and I'd put up some guards. In our denomination, the Council of Bishops is responsible for the denomination's interfaith efforts, and at the conference level, I'm not sure where that would be, but I think religion and race would be a good place to start.
Okay, so
Thank you.
that's a speech for referral. I said I would come here to the middle. Is there still someone? Okay. No one? Okay, are you ready to vote? If you would refer, you'll vote 1, yes. If you would not, you'll vote 2. Vote now. $429 yes, 271 no. You have voted to refer. That don't leave. Hold steady. But we have completed our work. Two things, and then we'll be ready to depart. The first is I'd like to give a report on the Wiley College offering. $8,195.07. I want to take a moment of personal privilege and express to each one of you my appreciation for the way that we have conducted ourselves and our business. I want to thank you for helping this rookie bishop make it through his first, barring anything with ordination, through a first annual conference. I was so overwhelmed and excited when I stood in this room almost a year ago and was elected to the episcopacy. I was filled with gratitude and thanksgiving to God when it was announced that my assignment would be the Illinois Great Rivers Conference. I haven't made it to every single place yet. If I keep up my current pace, I'll probably kill myself. But I am so grateful and thankful to be your Episcopal leader. And I believe that God has brought me here for such a time as this. Amen. And I'm excited about what God is going to do. And I want to thank you for your prayers, for your support, for your patience, and yes, for your love. If you're able to stand, would you stand for the benediction? Lord, we are your servants. Help us to always remember that it's not about us. It's about Jesus, who said these words, "If I be lifted up, I will draw all men and women and boys and girls." Help us to lift the Savior up, to lift him up for the world to see. We ask this in the name of Christ. Amen. God bless you.